Hey guys, welcome to the channel. Welcome to another episode of Mark and Mitch Make a Scientology Film. Let's get Mitch in here.
Hey
Afternoon,
guys,
afternoon, Mitch.
afternoon.
Um, we've got a good film we're going to go over today. And when we originally talked about doing this film as the next one, I really couldn't think of any good stories about the film because I just remembered that it was really three actors. Who do we have? We had the film we're talking about today is TR12, The Solo Auditor. And
Right.
well, actually, why don't you set this one up, Mitch? Because there was a reason. I think the reason we did this one early on was because I think Dave Miscavige wanted this specific film.
Yeah, I mean, traditionally for years, the solo course has been a bottleneck. Just the idea of solo auditing has been a bottleneck in Scientology. It goes all the way back to when Hubbard first dreamed up clear on an e-meter. The only problem was in order to become clear in Scientology back in the 60s, you had to travel to St. Hill, England, and you had to take a course called the St. Hill Special Briefing Course, which that course has been canceled by David Miscavige for God knows how long. You can no longer do it. But you had to train to be a class 6 auditor before you could solo audit. As a result, it was a bottleneck. Nobody was going up the bridge. So Hubbard, he came up with this course, and then it's basically called the Solo Auditors Course, where he said, I've taken all of the best stuff from class 6 and I've put it in one course, and I can train you to do this. And this is the big breakthrough. He called these things an undercut. When any of his
Yes.
stuff started just going to shit and like nobody was doing it and it wasn't working, he'd come back and say, I did some research and I have an undercut. And there was always the next undercut. And
Yes.
solo auditing was a big undercut, right, Mark?
Well, to make sure people are up to speed, when you first get into Scientology and you have all these engrams that you need to resolve, you can do that with Dianetics, and it's just two people talking. But then as you get
Right.
into Scientology, the addition of an e-meter comes into play, and then someone asks you questions and they look at the e-meter and can tell, they kind of guide you. The e-meter is like a dividing rod in Scientology counseling. It kind of tells you where to go and where not to go. And solo auditing is when now, instead of somebody asking you the questions and looking on the e-meter, you're asking yourself the questions in your mind, and then you're answering the questions in your mind, and you're looking at the e-meter to see if you're in the right area. That's pretty much a good act. I've
Yeah, yeah,
never
yeah.
done any of
No,
these
that's
things
totally
in
fine.
real
You're
life.
probably in a better position to explain it because you never did it. Because once you do it, you're so lost in the confusion of body thetans and all this stuff. Yeah, no, that's absolutely right, and it's a great part of the con because it's really expensive and time consuming to audit people. So Hubbard said, well, you know what? Auditing at this level is so fast that another person can't do it with you. You have to do it yourself. It's just a
Yeah.
con. Everybody's like, whoa, right? And so it's like it's a great way to up your income is rather than us having to dedicate auditors to auditing people, we'll just have them audit themselves, right?
Yeah. But
And
you know
the
what
thing,
I always thought
what's that?
was one of the things that I always thought after I left was it's too hard to have two people have so much cognitive dissonance about the same stuff at the same time. And
Right.
it makes it more convenient if you are just in on this with yourself.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah,
if you
yeah.
had another person in this, one of them is going to be like, dude, can you believe we're doing this right now? Like, this
Yeah,
just
you know,
seems like a bunch of nonsense.
you're right. You're right because nobody's better at suckering you into something than you. Right?
Exactly. That's what I realized
Yeah,
when we were
yeah,
just about to talk about this. I was like, really, you could only do this by yourself, because otherwise somebody would talk you out of it.
yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So the this film is about solo auditing, and just to talk a little about the course that the film teaches you, what's on the course. There's basically two things you're going to learn on this course. You're going to learn how to use the e-meter uh, so that you can perform the solo auditing. And you're going to learn how to clairvoyantly address what you will become known to you as your body thetans. This is where you learn My dog is tangled up in my mic, my mic cord. Sorry. This is where you learn to telepathically communicate to your body things, and you'll do this mostly by screaming at ashtrays. This is a course where you do a lot of yelling at ashtrays, big heavy glass ashtrays, telling them to stand up, thanking them for standing up, telling them to sit down, and so forth. And then you'll do a lot of e-meter drills. There's a couple of these e-meter drills. I think it's 22 and 24. I don't remember. They're date locate, right? You'll remember this.
So you are sitting with your e-meter, and then someone is holding the cans that are connected to the e-meter, and they're supposed to think of a date. And this date,
they write it on a piece of paper.
Yeah.
It's like a parlor trick, like a parlor game.
Yes, they basically have to write, it could be 5,782,000,000 years ago, and to the day.
No, like to the second. You eventually have to do it to the second, eventually.
And then the person on the e-meter has to say, is it earlier than 10 million years ago? Is it earlier than 10 trillion? And then the e-meter is supposed to guide them to the right date. The other person that's sitting in the chair just sits there. And I remember that students would be on this drill for months and months and months.
It's enough to make you want to unalive yourself. A good number of people finish it at what's called qual. In other words, they finish it under the technical supervision of the most technical people in the organization. It's absolutely crazy. And there is a kind of pathway through doing it successfully. And that pathway leads through this weird kind of biofeedback where the other person is kind of figuring out your tells, because everybody has tells, right? Yes. Probably this e-meter drill probably makes you into a better poker player. I don't know.
I think all Scientology things make you into a better poker player because you become a robot version of yourself that doesn't show emotion.
Yeah.
So if you really wanted to be able to not show emotions, if you just did what they call the Scientology TRs up to like 10 or 8 or whatever it is, when you just the beginning ones, 0 through 4.
Just up to 4. Yeah,
0 through 4. If you can get through those, you could be an amazing poker player.
Yeah, and it's funny that you mentioned that, because I know a Scientologist who happens to be an OT, who is a professional, has played professional poker and won a lot of money.
Wow.
And, yeah, I absolutely know one.
But you still have to be smart and know what hands to play and all that. But
of course,
as far as a poker face goes, this could take care of that.
Right. As far as controlling your physicality, your emotions, all those things that apparently are important in poker. Yeah, but Mark, come on, there's a lot of smart people in Scientology. So
sure,
there are.
It doesn't make a lot of sense, but yes, there are.
Yeah, no, to me it does. It actually does. Some people are just too stupid to join a cult. Hold on, I didn't mean that. Before you come after me, I did not mean that. But no, a lot of people are attracted because they really are looking for an alternative, countercultural kind of experience. They're interested in the spiritual. They're highly idealistic. These are, and they're some very clever high demand groups out there that will sucker you in.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about, though. We're here to talk about the film TR12.
That's right. So this film takes you through how to, there's certain conventions and methods that Hubbard wanted solo auditors on, how they held the cans and how they set up the session to do it with themselves and not another person. And I think in this one, so in this film, Jack Armstrong, is our main character in this film.
Yeah.
And then we had Kelly. Was it Kelly Daniels? Well,
Kelly Daniels. Yeah.
Well, it was shot twice. Once with
Katie Mitchell.
Right?
Yeah, Katie Mitchell. And I don't remember who the guy was. Do you remember?
God, I thought it was. I thought it was like Bobby Lyons, or it was.
No, it was a young guy. It had to be a young guy.
I can't remember. I remember shooting it twice. Weird. And I think that might have been the thing that confused me, is because I think when we did the location shoots, those were stock shots in the first version.
Right.
And so in the second version, we actually needed to shoot a plane.
And
we'll get to that. But
just let me real quick interject. The positioning with Hubbard positioned solo auditing with getting your solo pilot's license. That was a
Yes.
marketing gimmick. And so when you did the solo course, you got these cute little wings, like the in-flight,
It was like a
the
little
tent,
pin. Yeah,
yeah,
it was
little
like a little
pin,
lapel.
yeah, a little thing you could wear. You got your wings, like a Boy Scout pin or something,
Yes.
those were like your solo wings. So the film that we did, we didn't want stock shots in it, so we went and arranged to shoot. It's supposed to be. It opens with a guy taking off on an airport, a little plane. We used what the hell was that plane? It's a type of aerobatic plane. I'll think of it. It's a very famous
Yeah.
aerobatic plane. Tom Cruise coincidentally has one of these planes and flies it, but I didn't see him showing up to help us. So
No, not at all.
no, and we needed help on the aerial
Oh
part
my
of the shoot.
goodness.
It was
Yes.
a disaster.
Yeah, we did well, we'll just say what we did. So the film needs to show it's a biplane. This aerobatic plane was a biplane, right?
Yeah. It's a little aerobatic. It's a stumpy little plane that's just
That can
insanely nimble.
yeah, that can stall out and
Yeah,
fall and then get
yeah,
recontrol. And
it's really
well,
nuts.
there's only like 5 or 6 of these planes anywhere near where we were in
Yeah.
California. And the closest one that we could find at the time was gonna be in Sedona,
Well,
Arizona
okay, now
for
hold
like a
on. No,
weekend.
no. Hold on, Mark. Hold
Yeah.
on, Mark. Sometimes we don't remember. No, we went to Sedona. I wanted to go to Sedona.
Yeah.
I specifically said I had worked in Sedona. I did some commercials for Porsche,
Yeah.
and I done these on the Sedona Airport in Sedona, Arizona, one of the most beautiful places in America. They have a mesa, one of these things like, like Close Encounters, and that's the
Yeah.
airport runway is on that mesa, and so
Yes.
you could park a car on there and fly around it. And so I want to go to Sedona. So Mark's right. We did have to find the aerobatic plane that was near there, but fortunately, there's a lot of flying out of Sedona Airport. So, there's a lot of rich guys that have aerobatic planes. We were able to find a stunt pilot to do it, but Arizona could be a rather tricky place to shoot at certain times of year, right, Mark?
Well, so I don't remember the part about you saying we needed to shoot there. I just knew it's in Sedona. The plane's
Yeah,
going there. We're going there.
right.
I want to say it's about 6 to 8 hours from Gilman
Yeah.
Hot Springs,
700
California.
miles.
Oh, okay, good. Good for you.
Yeah, I still remember.
Anyway, whichever it is, Sedona, um, is it's the weather is very hit or miss, and you can't it doesn't it there it's not like one of these places where the people that predict the weather for Sedona give too much care about if it's going to be more rain or more clouds or
Yeah.
more sun. It's just partly cloudy or partly sunny, and that's
Yeah.
usually what it
Yeah.
is. Whenever we would do a location shoot, um, my job was the shoot crew chief, but there was another department. There was a few departments underneath the shoot crew chief that we didn't have people in. One of those was a grip department. And
Right.
so if something needed to be transported or if something needed to be moved from one place to another, technically that kind of came in under the grip department. But since we didn't have anybody in the grip department, I was that job from above. So getting a plane to the shoot was kind of a grip thing, but the plane was really a prop. So the props guy was in charge of the plane, and the logistics guy was working with the props department to get this plane to this place. And somehow or another, they could only get it there. I want to say it was for an afternoon. Like it was going to be there, and we had it for an afternoon. And
Yeah, I'm sure between flying time and fuel and the
yeah, and how
airport.
much? Yeah, it was,
Yeah.
and there were a lot of moving parts. We
Yeah.
were shooting in a place that we didn't know any of the people, so it was, somebody called the airport and said, "Hey, we want to do a shoot there this afternoon," and they're like,
Yeah.
"Sure, I guess," and like, "Give us $1,000 and you can do whatever you want,"
It's not a real
and
busy airport also.
yeah, and so we didn't have a lot of money. Well, almost all the money that was spent on this was spent on the plane and the location,
And me.
and well,
No, I'm just kidding. I'm sorry.
but you were already paid, I think,
Yeah,
for the
I'm
film,
just
so it wasn't
Tasteless
Either
Coke. Sorry.
Either way, when we get a budget like this and we're going to travel to Sedona, Arizona, there's no hotels. There's no, there's gas money and maybe a little bit of food money. That's it. Anyway, so when we get to Sedona, we travel to Sedona. We have to get up, we have to leave at let's just say midnight to get there by the morning so that when we get there, we can shoot. We can set up and we can shoot with the plane or whatever. And I think we were going to do, there's some ground shots where the plane is taking off and the plane is landing. And then the plane needs to do some aerobatics and we need to get some of those shots.
It looks like it needed, like it was spinning out of control. There was one shot where we were looking way up at it and it's like, it's going to crash. So.
Yeah. And it rained.
Well, hold on a second. Not only did it rain,
yeah.
There's a thing in Arizona called monsoon season. Yes. And we picked monsoon season to shoot this thing. So if you want to know why nobody was at the airport, because monsoon season in Arizona is a serious business.
And so when it's raining, guys with planes that are aerobatic planes that they don't want to get messed up, they don't like to fly like that. No. They're like, I'm not flying in the rain. And I'm also not going to do a bunch of tricks in the rain.
Right.
And so I can't remember exactly how it went down, but I just remember we shot a bunch of footage that was pretty much useless because it was raining or it looked like it was going to rain. And the way the shot is described by L. Ron Hubbard is that there's just a plane in the sky. It doesn't say there's a plane in the sky with rain clouds all around it.
Yeah, one would assume it needs to be a glorious, spectacular, sun-drenched shot.
Yes, you would assume that. But here we are, and there's a plane. We got the plane. We got the location, but we ain't got the weather. And there's nothing you can do about the weather. But in the Sea Organization and working for Golden Era Productions and working for David Miscavige, you can't blame that you didn't get the shot on the weather.
There's no such thing as an act of God in Scientology.
And they actually have a policy called the why is God. So like if you say, why didn't you build the driveway? Why didn't you pour the concrete for the driveway? Well, it was raining. We can't pour concrete in the rain. The why is God. You can't say that you didn't do it because of something that's not under your control. It's unacceptable. Anyway, so we did as much as we could. I think we ended up staying the night, which was a huge flap that we stayed in.
Motel 6, kind of cheapest place we could find.
And we didn't have enough money to get a hotel. So I think what we ended up doing was there were two females. I think there was two females on the shoot. There was Lisa Schroer, and she was the director's assistant. She was Mitch's assistant.
Yeah, it's not an assistant director. Very different thing.
Yes, director's assistant. She was would go get chips
and
salsa.
Give me tacos. That's the director.
And then there was a girl named Sadie Johansson.
Yeah.
And Sadie was the assistant cameraman.
Right.
And so because there were two females, and there was probably 4 or 5 males, and we all went there in a 15-passenger van with a seat or two taken out of the back, and that's where all the film equipment. We would put all the film equipment.
Right.
And we may have – no, I don't think we had the camera truck. I think we just had a 15-passenger van just because we didn't have enough money for gas for 2 vehicles.
Yeah,
we
right.
Only had
yeah, by the way, I just want to interject. I looked it up on my phone, and so from the Golden Era Golf Course, which is next door to the Sedona Airport, it's
400 miles.
636. You were right, Mark. 636 6 hours 36 minutes, 394 miles. So
there you go.
You were dead on there. But just a reason I bring that up, not just to underscore the fact that Mark is always right about these kind of things, because he is, because his memory is like amazing. But so whatever you're hearing about this day, keep in mind this day included all of that time driving. And the crew was expected to drive back the same day, so that's a long day.
Yeah, that's exactly how it was always scheduled. Because you can't say, well, we need to go there the day before. Well, why do you have to go there the day before? Well, because we need to sleep. Well, where are you going to sleep?
We need to set up.
Yeah, or they would say, where are you going to sleep? You say, we're going to sleep in a hotel. Well, there's no money for a hotel. Okay, we'll sleep in the van. Okay, well, the crew can sleep on the van on the way there. And then I'd be like, Yeah, but then I have to drive. Okay, well then you'll be the only one who doesn't get to sleep. And it'll be like, okay, well, we have to drive back too. And it'd be like, well, then you'll be the only one who doesn't sleep on the way back when you drive back. So it's like, that
Yeah,
was usually the deal that I got. Because
yeah.
I was the only one who could sleep. No, I was the only one who could drive without having slept. But even that, I had my limits. But so we drove there. It rained all day long. We shot a bunch of shots because we're going to shoot some shots no matter what. We're going to shoot some
Right.
shots. Whether they're usable or not, if we don't even shoot the shots, then it's like you guys didn't even try.
Right.
Even if we shoot the shots, they're going to be like, these shots suck. It's raining. And you're like,
Right.
well, yeah, but if I wouldn't have shot the shots, you'd say I suck because I didn't even shoot the shots. So
Right.
I think in the end, I want to say that we might have used a shot to take off or a landing shot.
What I remember was the one that we used was, of course, it figures the one of it spiraling out of control.
Yeah.
That one, because that was away from the airport, and that was supposed to be like a dangerous shot, like you're a solo auditor and you're in trouble. Cut to plane spiraling out of the sky. So it was okay that it was kind of dark and foreboding. I'm going to let my puppy out while you fill it in.
No
I'll be
problem.
right back.
Yeah, I actually remember,
Come on,
and
Barky.
when Mitch comes back, he'll confirm. But I think we ended up doing another shot in a nearby town, not in Sedona, the next day before we ended up coming back. We shot, in the end, we shot in Sedona. We shot in a second location. And then I'm just going to let him put his cans back on so he can hear me. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we shot in 3 different locations. And Mitch, I was just saying, I think we shot in 3 different locations. We shot in Sedona.
Right.
And then we tried to salvage it the next day by shooting somewhere, a nearby airport somewhere else that guy could fly the plane to.
Yeah, and we managed to do, he wouldn't go back to Sedona. He was like, no, we're done.
Yeah.
I'm not going back there. And so we managed to have him, that's right, to fly out of a different airport. And then that's when we got the spiraling shot.
That's right. We got
that
another
was a nightmare.
one.
That was a nightmare. I'm like triggered just thinking about that.
I know.
Whole thing.
And then we had to end up getting one more set of shots, and we got those, I want to say, just like you and the cameraman only went. Because, but that's the other thing. Okay, so when we shot at the first place in Sedona, that was almost a complete wipeout.
Right.
In actual fact, I don't know that any footage from Sedona actually made it into the film, but we shot
nothing.
Yeah, so we shot a second day. So we stayed at a hotel because there were 2 girls with us. We chipped in whatever money we had. Like, we literally went through like the bottoms of our backpacks and the seats in the van and scraped together like $67 so that the 2 girls could sleep in a bed in a hotel room, and the guys slept in the van right outside the
Right.
It was, and I'm saying in Sedona, we were at like the Motel 6 of Sedona. It didn't even have motel or 6 in the name, but it was that level of whatever they had in Sedona that
really
we could get for
trashy.
$67 a night.
Yeah, I don't even think it was. I think we driven back to Phoenix. I actually think it was in.
Well, I know we stayed in Sedona no matter what.
Okay.
And then we drove, I think that night, the props guy had to figure out how we could get that plane to somewhere else. And by the morning, it was like, okay, the guy said he'll go to this airport with the plane and we can meet him at this time. And then it was like, okay, we're heading that way. And then it was the logistics guy's job to get that airport locked up for us to be able to shoot at by the time the plane got there and we got there.
Right.
And then we were able to meet up with the plane guy, and we were able to meet up with the right airport people. And it was and like the first 3 people that we went to at the airport were sort of like, we have no idea what you're talking about. Get the hell off of our airport. And it was like, finally we were able to like, and I think we may have shot at that airport guerrilla style. So we weren't actually authorized to shoot there, but we ended up going like outside the gate on the runway and set up a camera in a place where you couldn't really see the fence. And it was like, oh my goodness. Okay.
We were desperate. This is now what you call a ship named Hell, a ship named Hate on a voyage to hell.
Yeah.
That's what this now is.
In the Sea Org, this is known as making it go, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
We had to
Yeah.
make it go right with whatever
Yeah.
money or resources we had. Okay, so we shoot that. Okay, when we come back, it is pretty much and I don't know how. Well, this was a unique position that we were in. People could fly under the radar at the base and do dumb things, and it could go on for months. Dave Miscavige is never going to find out, or it's very unlikely that he's going to go to your area and inspect you, what you're doing, and talk to you and all that. Unfortunately, when we're shooting a film, we're sending him footage every single day. So if a day goes by and he doesn't get any footage, he knows something's rotten in China, and we done messed up.
Yeah, no, this is a constant data stream from the shoot crew to Miscavige. It's a continuous thing. It's like
he gets to see.
You can't just skip a day and say, "Oh, we were whatever."
Yeah, if he goes, okay, let's go down to go watch the film, the dailies, and then someone has to tell him, "Oh, sir, there's no dailies today. There was bad weather in Sedona, Arizona." That's a little bomb that's going to go off in your pocket within the next hour or two. Yeah. You're going to find out that David Miscavige knows you didn't do anything today. So we
and I think the first thing that would have been said, sorry to interrupt you, it would have been, why did they go to Sedona? There's an airport right here in Hammett.
It literally would go that way. It would be like, why the it's just there's a parade of questions that will come back to us. Yeah. So we didn't end up coming back the first night. So we came back the second night, and now we had 2 days worth of footage. And when Dave Miscavige saw that footage, it was like, what's going on?
Yeah.
And we had to basically explain that there was a giant cluster. And we
monsoon season.
Yeah, the whole thing. Anyway, I ended up getting in massive trouble over this, and I want to say
everybody did. I think we all were like.
Yeah, but because I was the one who checked the weather. Like, it was like, well, who checked the weather? It was like, well, that's the shoot crew chief's job. And then you go like, well, yeah, but you set up the location in Sedona, Arizona, logistics guy. And the plane guy had to know the weather. And it was like, and so in the end, it was like, I checked the weather. And it said partly sunny. And if you
sounds good.
And if you went to another forecast or another website, it said partly cloudy. So it was like, well, which one did you look at? And which one? And it was like, it didn't matter. It says, look, like the last 20 days it said partly sunny, and the last 20 days this one said partly cloudy, and they both could have said either or. It was like, who cares? Like, anyway, so
exactly,
that was the major investigation, was what does partly cloudy mean to you, and what does partly sunny mean to you? And I'm like, it means it's going to be part sun and part clouds, or part clouds and part sun. Either way, it went on and on and on and on, and we all got in big trouble. And so when it needed to be, some of the shots needed to be reshot, and I think it was that spinny spin.
Well, no, that's the one we got. The one we needed was the stable takeoff, the takeoffs and landings at an airport.
That's right.
So I mean, the shot of the guy spiraling, you could shoot that anywhere that the guy could fly overhead.
Yeah.
But we needed an airport, and there was no way we were going back to Sedona.
Yeah, there's no way we're going back. And now Mitch usually is like, nope, we're going to Sedona. And then you're like, Mitch, we could shoot it nearby. Nope, we're going to Sedona. So then after we all get in trouble and all that, it's like, Mitch, we're going to Inyokern, about an hour and a half from here.
It's a beautiful airport. I wish I would have known about it. I would have shot it there. Well, no, I wouldn't have. But there is this airport that's a lot closer than Sedona. It's in California. It's north of Los Angeles at a place called Inyokern. It used to be a Navy base, and now it's a private like a little private little airport. The thing that's unique about this airport is the runways are huge, because during World War II, they used to land big cargo airplanes on there. And the people that own the airport, they constantly pave the blacktop. They redo the runways to keep them pristine and black, because they get so many shoot days for car commercials. at this place, and it's in the foothills of the Sierras, so it has this beautiful mountainous background. And yeah, and so I'm like, okay, we're going in your current, but it was just me in the camera department because I was told, dude, you're paying for this freaking thing. I mean,
Yeah,
be,
I want to say that we ended up getting billed for all the film that we shot in Sedona. Like we paid all, like,
yeah,
and the way it works in the shoot crew is a can of Kodak 5248 or whatever we were using, Vision
back
stock
then
or
it's probably $1,000.
uh yeah, depends on if it was a small can or if it was a big can.
Yeah, no,
But
it's about a
anywhere
buck
from
a foot. But
yeah,
yeah, go ahead. Sorry,
anywhere from $500 to $1,000 a can,
yeah,
depending on
it's
how much film it
expensive.
was. That was you're getting billed for that. And
Yeah,
and if it was you and two other people, then it was a three-way split. It wasn't even like, well, you're 20% responsible and you're no, you
no,
three, 33% each,
yeah,
boof, you're done. You owe
absolutely.
$330, you owe $330, you owe $330, 333, whatever. Anyway, and so we were all not going on this. We knew, like, they're like, well, we got to go do a reshoot. And whenever, even the shoot crew, we're like, well, okay, so we're going to need this. No, they're like, no, you're not needed. You don't need anything. Mitch is going to drive and the camera crew are going.
Yeah, I'm going to put
And
the
that's it.
camera in the trunk of my BMW. And
Yes.
we're going to drive to Inyo. I'm going to drive with the cameraman and the assistant cameraman. And God damn it, we're going to get the shot, or we're pretty much out of Scientology. We're like,
Yes.
right. Anyway, so we went up there and we did. I mean, I was carrying camera cases. I hadn't done this since college. It was great. Carrying camera cases, helping set up cameras, blah, blah, blah. We got the shot. It turned out so good that
Yes.
we didn't have to pay for anything for that day.
Yeah.
So that actually was a big sigh of relief. It was like, oh my God.
And the
But
best part of these things is when we do this, it's not good because it sets precedences. So
yeah,
you say,
why do you need so many people?
yeah, why did you need 5 people before, or 6 people, or 7 people, or whatever it was,
Yeah.
when you did it fine with 3 people and no money? So it's like one of those
Yeah,
things where it sets you up for the next time you need to do a location shoot.
right.
You better make sure you got your I's dotted and your T's crossed, because they're gonna
Yeah.
come at you with a magnifying glass. Hey, wait a minute. It says there's 4 people. The last time you guys did a location shoot with Mitch,
Yeah.
you did it with 3, including Mitch, and you're just like, that was because we were in trouble. We just
Yeah.
were.
Yeah,
We were
Right.
taking our hits. Okay.
We screwed up the first one. I just remembered, Mark, that airport, Inyo Current Airport,
Yeah.
it's next door to a place called China Lake Naval Reserve, right? And China Lake Naval Reserve is next to Area 51. That is the number one place in America for spooky alien
Yeah.
urban myths and UFO sightings. I mean, this is the place where they tested all the stealth bomber and the stealth jet.
Oh yeah. I
So a
believe
lot of that stuff was reported by the locals as UFOs.
Yeah.
So we were told, we had a permit to shoot there, and we were told, because a lot of the shooting there is not aircraft, it's cars on the runway. So we were told by the airport authority there, the private airport authority, make sure your pilot does not fly over China Lake, because they'll shoot him down right there. Like they said, look, there was a 16-year-old kid a couple of weeks ago. He accidentally flew a glider, because they had a glider club at that airport. He accidentally flew a glider over the airspace of China Lake Naval Base. He lost his right to have a pilot's license for the rest of his life.
Wow.
They said you will never fly anyway. So that was an interesting place. That made us a little nervous because, considering everything that happened before, that's all we needed was, pilot got shot down.
Yeah, totally.
So,
before I forget, guys, we are going to
Yeah.
show you an amazing document at the end of this stream. So make sure you stick around to the very end.
Yeah, you need to see this, and you need to see it on my channel, right, Mark?
That's right. And that's what I was going to just say. You got to check out
thank
Mitch's
you.
channel
Yeah.
at Scientology, The Big Lie. We're trying to get Mitch's channel kind of going. This SPTV channel incubator system works as long as the subscribers from some of the bigger channels go and subscribe and watch videos on some of the smaller channels. And that's sort of the system that we have, where we try to team up different channels with other channels to kind of incubate that channel into getting monetized and all that good stuff. So,
Yeah, and
um,
I promise, my Boy Scout of Honor, I promise more really high quality content, especially once my book is done, because that's been like I've been kind of hit and miss because
it's so
I'm trying
funny
to
that you
finish
brought
that.
that up, Mitch, because
Yeah.
you can go to Indiegogo projects, the Scientology, the Big Lie, and if you want to help Mitch out getting his book together, then and also I don't know what the different levels are on there, Mitch. Can you is it like you get a book no matter like if
No, I don't have any set deals. I mean, obviously, some people who have donated really large amounts of money, they'll get something. But I
yeah
haven't really settled it yet. But I have to tell you, it was a very low. I had a very low campaign goal, which was only $2,000 as money I needed to finish it. We're at 108%, so I've already passed it. But the
awesome
thing is, I want to keep going with it because I need to upgrade some equipment and I'm going to have other costs for the book, like for printing. So I like rather than starting a new campaign, like let's see how far we can push this campaign.
perfect.
And I mean, this community, as you know, Mark, they're incredible. I mean, this is like it's an amazing reckoning that's happening in the world of people who want to screw people over.
Well, the thing I
They
want to
went and yeah, sorry.
well the thing I want to say you brought up a great point. The thing I want to say is that if we can get some of these other channels in the sort of loosely connected SPTV network, you're going to be able to get differing content as well as higher quality content. And,
Right.
Mitch knows people that I don't know, and I know people that Mitch doesn't know. And we're kind of connecting up all these different people to be able to bring you guys content. So
Yeah, and
when you support
yeah,
the new and upcoming channels and subscribe and like and all that good stuff, hit the bell notification icon. It makes a difference for the YouTube
yeah.
algorithm, and it pushes these channels up into people's recommended page.
Yeah, and also like Mark and I had experiences which I never remembered until I started talking to Mark, and I think the same for him.
Totally,
We started talking,
100%.
we're like, oh my god.
Well, it's funny you say that because I remember shooting this plane thing, but I didn't know which film it even went with. Like I had
Right,
forgotten it.
right.
The traumatic experience of driving for 3 days with no sleep and getting in trouble when we got and knowing, oh, that's the worst thing because you have this drive of shame. When you get back, you're toast.
Oh,
You're going to get in huge trouble for spending all this money,
yeah.
whatever it was, $2,000, spending all this money on film and the location and the plane and all this stuff, and then getting no shots. And you're driving back to okay, am I going to go to the RPF? Am I going
Oh
to
yeah.
be on post? Am I going to
Yeah.
oh shoot, I'm going to get in assigned lower conditions. I'm not going to be able to go home for another 4 or 6
Yeah.
months. And you're just driving back like,
Yeah.
okay, what fun awaits me.
Yeah. 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 It's crazy.
Yeah.
You know,
So I
yeah.
didn't remember that the plane was connected to this film. And then when Mitch, we have a like a note that we kind of create for each one of these things. And when Mitch added all the plane stuff, I was like, oh my God, dude, I totally forgot that was for this film that we're about to talk
Yeah. And I had only just remembered it. It wasn't like I was just sitting on it. It was just,
about.
it was very traumatic. So the film itself, we'll get back to the film.
Yeah. This is just the opening sequence,
Yeah. And
the end
yeah.
sequence, and one little shot in the movie. This
Yeah.
whole
Yeah.
debacle probably takes about, I want to say 45 seconds worth of footage of this entire film. Maybe a minute.
Yeah. And everything else, everything else was shot in a studio. Some of it we went to LA and rented a studio. I just remember that because we didn't have the castle yet.
Yeah.
And we did the scene. Okay, I have to back up a minute. This
Yeah.
script that Hubbard wrote was incredibly boring. All it was a guy sitting at a folding card table. They'd actually tried to shoot it once. So I'm telling you, this is what it was. Sitting at a card table, and then there was a narrator, but you couldn't ever see his head. He was standing next to him, like you just see him from the shoulders down, and he was pointing at the meter and telling this guy what to do. And that was pretty much the whole movie. And I'm like, there is no way I'm shooting that movie. I didn't come here to shoot like an instructional film that's like so boring. So I I loved this film. It was called A Guy Named Joe, 1943, Spencer Tracy, World War II romance about a pilot, Spencer Tracy, who dies. and then he has to become his best friend's co-pilot. He's like an invisible angel that now sits in the back seat in battle and helps him fly. And it's really tough for him to do this because I think it's Van Johnson, who plays his friend, has now taken up with his ex-girlfriend. So it's it's a great film. If you like old black and white films, romantic films, it was directed by, Victor Fleming. Yeah. Victor Fleming directed like Gone with the Wind and The Wizard of Oz. So it's like this is a major deal. I really love that film. So I thought, well, what if I make the narrator guy into like an angel who's invisible, who stands next to him and the audience can see her, but the guy can't see her. So I completely rewrote all the visuals in the film. Everybody thinks it was written by L. Ron Hubbard. He wrote all the dialogue and the narration, but I wrote everything else in the film. And the film opens with this person who's going to play this angel going to see God in heaven. None of this is in the script. And we went into a studio in Hollywood and we made like a dry ice heaven. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
We made like a dry ice heaven with fog and you never saw God. But this angel, who happens to be a Scientologist, because apparently angels are also auditors. So you can all expect welcome to heaven. You're welcome to heaven security check those Christians when they finally get to heaven.
But also this auditor, Katie Mitchell, also played an angel in another movie.
Right. Played an angel who was an auditor.
A sec checker.
Yeah, sec checker. So if you people believe in heaven, you're in for a little surprise when you get up there.
Yeah. When you walk through the pearly gates, there's going to be some broad there trying to ask you a lot of questions.
Yeah, it's going to be an ethics officer. Yeah, it's up there going, welcome to heaven. Here's where you anyway, but my point is, so we're at this, and the angel who's going to teach this guy to be a solo auditor, she's going to get this assignment from God. And God's going to say, I want you to go down to earth, and I want you to help this guy, Charlie, right? His name was Charlie something.
Yeah.
And go help this guy, Charlie. And the voice of God, I thought, well, this is an important decision. What the voice of God sounds like. So I knew this black woman, this actress who was a Scientologist, who had a really incredible voice. So I'm like, okay, cool. God is a black woman, which kind of fits with my whole political socio thing. So I snuck that in there, people. But while we were at that studio that night shooting, we met for the first time an actor from the Beverly Hills Playhouse who came to that studio because he wanted to meet us, a guy named Jason Begay.
Yes.
That's where we met Jason for the very first time. And he was very gung-ho. We have stories we're going to get into about work that we did with Jason. Oh, my
goodness. We did so many films with Jason. And Jason was – I'm pretty much have a great story for every single time we shot with Jason because it was always a party when Jason showed up. And he also made my life excruciatingly difficult because he was a professional actor he did movies. G.I. Jane with Ridley Scott. He did Monkey Shines with George R. Romero. He did real movies and real TV shows, and he didn't put up with any of our Scientology Sea organization. We're like just a ragtag shirt crew. No, he was like, that's on you, not on me.
We're going to play by the rules here, folks.
Yeah.
That's how we do it.
Yeah, anyway, so he was no nonsense.
Great guy, but I still remember when he came by that night, and it was just...
Totally.
Yeah, because somebody said we were there and he wanted to meet us because he wanted to be in our films.
Yeah, we rented this studio. It was right off of, I want to say, Santa Monica and Highland in that area.
No, that was Kodak. The one we did for orientation. This one was in the valley, north of North Hollywood.
Oh, yes, you're right.
Sun
That
Valley,
was another one we used to rent. But we used to, when we were at that one in Hollywood, we did a ton of films when we sort of grew out of the gym. We had so many sets to do. In order to do them quickly, we just couldn't do them at the headquarters, at the one studio we had. So we had to get this. It was a set of studios in Los Angeles. And in the studio next to us, they shot America's Funniest Home Videos. With,
we were always running into stuff like that.
Yeah, we would always be shooting around some other thing that was popular in regular world, but in the Sea Org, we had no idea what they were. It was like America's funniest home videos. Like that's a thing. And sometimes we'd share their, depending on which studio we were renting, we'd share their makeup and costumes areas. So there'd be kind of, their stuff would be left over from when they just finished their season or whatever. And we'd kind of be like, oh, what's this? You know, oh, this is where they shoot America's funniest home videos. And we're like, okay. Anyway, so yeah, we did meet Jason on that shoot. That's right.
Yeah, just a little side color.
And then also there was so we had Jack Armstrong was Charlie.
Well, now you're talking about the second one. The first one I don't remember. Yeah,
I don't remember who that guy was in the first.
Yeah, it's
one
really
either.
weird that we can't remember. Was it maybe Michael Adams? No, he was a non-Scientologist. Remember, we used to work with a lot.
Yeah, there were a few guys like that. Remember Al Clegg?
Oh my God!
Right?
Yeah, he was the guy who used to play for Kansas City. Was that? Oh no, who am I thinking of?
Clegg was the guy in EM5, the PC, the prince's son or the king's son that goes to
black
Africa.
guy.
Yeah, wasn't his name Al?
Yeah,
Clegg?
Al Clegg. He used to play. He was. He had like 2 seasons in the NFL. I think he played for Kansas City, and he had a horrific injury. He could ruin his career,
and then
so he went into acting. Yeah, it's a great guy.
Yeah, he was nice. But we
used him a lot. There were people that we liked, so we would work with him a lot.
So what I remember is that there was Jack Armstrong, Kelly Daniels played the auditor.
Right.
I mean the angel, whatever you want to call it, that was invisible, but it was weird because she was basically talking like, okay, now you're going to want to set up your meter. And then he would just start doing the thing that she was saying. Like, we could hear her.
Yeah.
But nobody else could.
He couldn't hear her. It was clairvoyant because you're learning to communicate with what will become known to you, revealed to you later as BTs. I had the brilliant artistic idea to introduce the aspect of clairvoyance into the film. So she would say, okay, now pick up the pen, and he'd go, and he'd pick it up. Like as though it was his own thought. Yeah. She'd say, now turn your meter on. And then she'd say, start reading the commands. And so he'd start reading these off of a printed sheet, the commands that he's giving himself. And this is another catchphrase, Mark. I just remember the catchphrase.
Yeah.
No, silently to yourself.
Yes, that's exactly. I couldn't remember what it was from this film. For every film, there is some of them have 1 or 2, and some of them have 10. But there's these sayings that they said that you would use it in real life.
Oh, all over the world. I'd meet Scientologists all over the world, and they'd be saying these things to me from tech films like I'd never heard it before.
Yeah.
And like if somebody was really chattering away and you're around you, and you just wanted to just tell them to shut up, you'd say, no, silently to yourself.
Yes. Yeah. And that is true. A lot of these were comical within Scientology.
Yeah, we could get away with it because Hubbard. Well, that one was a little bit south because we were taking a line.
But still, we would definitely use those. There's one film where it's EM5 where there's a bunch of papers blow all over the floor.
Right.
And the messenger comes in and says, "Get these papers picked up." And so whenever somebody would go into somebody's office and it was messy, we'd be like, "Get these papers picked up."
Yeah. Sometimes I wonder if these are so inside jokes that people are looking at this right now and going, "What the fuck are they talking about?"
Yeah, like, "Oh, that's really funny. Get these papers picked up."
Yeah,
Good
gee,
one,
I guess you had to be there.
Yeah.
No, but some of them were really helpful lines. There's one in a film that Jason was in that we're going to do later, and we'll bring this back up again. But the Jason character is trying to pull the wool over the auditor's eyes. And he's saying, "You're a great guy. And when I laid eyes on you, I saw there's a really honorable." He's just trying to butter the guy up because he wants to lie to him. Yeah. And the auditor looks at him and says, "Thank you for your good opinion. I'll try and live up to it."
Yes.
And I can't tell you how many times somebody threw some horrific insult at me. And I replied, "Thank you for your good opinion. I'll try and live up to it."
Yeah.
So that was a really helpful line. I still use it to this day.
Yeah. Oh, there's so many good ones. The one that I use with Claire all the time is in a film called EM8. They're doing a tour around an organization, and they get to this character. I think he's the public executive secretary. He's sort of over the divisions that are supposed to get
Right.
people into Scientology, and it's played by the actor Michael D. Roberts.
Right.
And they're talking about some person who's not doing good on the job, and he can't get new people in. And then Michael Roberts says, "Can't have that. If so, replace." And
Yeah.
and so
Yeah.
whenever somebody says, "Oh, I've got Claire," will be, "Oh, this person's doing this, and they're not exactly getting it right." I'll be like, "Can't have that. If so, replace."
Yeah. And if you live that life, it just really brings you back.
Yes.
Hey, I can't bring up the comments, but if you could bring this one up
Yeah.
from Russ T, it's at 340.
Yeah. 340. Let me
He's
see.
one of the 3 people that are watching us because we've bored everybody to death.
No,
with our-
there's like almost 500 people. In
No,
here
I'm
right
just
now.
joking, Mark. Bring this one up from Russ T.
Yeah, I'm getting there. I'm so far down the
340.
chat.
It's starred. It's a starred comment.
Oh, well, that's easier then.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Russ T. There you go.
He's at the bottom there. Hey, so Russ T, yeah, you're right. The original version was with Charlie Rush.
But that predates even our two versions.
That was the one earlier when I said that they never released it. They never even finished that version with Charlie Rush. That's the one when I looked at it, I went, no way. No way. I'm going to base this on a Victor Fleming film from 1943. You know
what's so funny? I don't know who this Russ T guy is.
But he knows some shit. He knows some stuff.
Oh no, he commented on at least the last one, maybe both of the last ones, and he was tweaking some of the things that we said, like, "Oh, that happened, but it was this or it was that." And I was like, "Oh, this dude was there." There's names and
for sure.
things. Even
nobody would have known even the name Charlie Rush.
That's right, and also that it was Charlie Rush.
It absolutely was
the name,
Charlie Rush.
and that. But this one wasn't the one that we were talking about. We don't remember that one.
Yeah, the one with
Rusty,
Katie Mitchell.
Who was the second person that was this film?
We need to dig up Katie Mitchell and get her on. I'm telling you.
I'm friends with her on Facebook.
Yeah, but what does that mean?
Well, that means if I message her, she might.
Yeah. It does. No, it means you know how to contact her. Yeah, will you please tell her I said hello?
I will. I'll send her a link to this video saying, "Hey, we're talking about one of the films you were in. You might as well be there. You might as well hang out and talk."
Yeah, exactly. We'll get you some. Brand new attention. I don't know what she's doing now. This person's an incredible actress. So what we know about Russ T is that this film he was at Gold before 1990, because I don't think anybody outside of Gold saw that Charlie Rush thing.
Very possibly, yeah.
Yeah.
And also the things that he knows about as well. Oh, I'll tell you one of the things that kind of locked him up for me, that he knew what he was talking about.
Yeah.
So I always knew that when Scientology bought the golf course,
right,
they bought it. What I was told is that they bought it, and the people that bought it was not Scientology. It was called the Scottish Highlands Quietude Society.
Yeah. It was.
That's what I was told.
That's true. I was told the same thing.
Okay. You know what the initials of that are? SHQ. So it was a funny joke that they made because
summer headquarters.
Because Gilman Hot Springs was going to be the summer headquarters, and the place in La Quinta, which I don't remember if it was you or somebody else who brought this up. They're 45 minutes to an hour
no, it
from
was
each
me.
other.
I actually, when I was writing my book, I'm like, okay, I have to be accurate on the distance between the two.
Yeah.
It's actually 60 miles, and then I went, now that's interesting. Let me look up the mean average temperature difference, 10 degrees. So that means when it's 120 in La Quinta, it's 110 at Gilman Hot Springs.
The summer headquarters.
Yeah, there's your summer headquarters, not some alpine mountain retreat.
Yeah.
They could have gone up to Big Bear.
They could have that studio.
Another hour.
Yeah, the facility that they had up there could have easily.
Well,
been
they didn't
Golden
have it
Arrow.
yet, but
Yeah,
that doesn't
that's
matter.
true.
They want something done, they'll do it. You know that. They got all the slave labor they need.
Oh my goodness.
Anyway.
So yeah, he said that SHQ was a joke. The Scottish Highlands Quietude.
Oh, this
Society.
guy was probably. We're calling you out, Rusty. because I was told it was the Guardian's office that made that purchase
Yeah.
because they were looking for a hideout for Hubbard, right?
Yeah. And
And
it was,
so,
at the time, it was sort of like, it's called Gilman Hot Springs because there used to actually be hot
yeah,
springs. And this is a crazy story. I don't know if anybody's ever told this story, but there were hot springs in Gilman Hot Springs.
right.
A lot of people don't know this, but on the other side of the mountain from Gilman Hot Springs, there is a super, super top secret government facility that's inside the mountain.
Yeah, to the east. Like you could go at Google Maps
Yes.
and you could look at what Mark's saying. It's to the east of Gold, and you will see a blurry spot on Google Maps, which
Well,
has obviously been wiped out. It's obviously
but
whatever photos there.
yeah, but also there's a whole road system over there that
Yeah, goes
leads
nowhere.
into the mountains.
It looks like
they just
but
dead end into the
yeah,
mountain
yeah,
all
it's
over the
crazy.
place.
People don't know this, but actually, every map you see on Google Maps is cleared by the U.S. military.
I
Google is
believe
not.
it.
Yeah, well, I know for a fact because I met a guy who has a private company. I'm talking about the satellite photos,
Yeah.
not the regular maps. But I met the guy who has a private company that does the launches for Google to provide them with the photography, and all of that is turned over to the U.S. Air Force and then cleared by Google. So it's all vetted. So yeah, nobody
Yeah.
knows. Not even
So,
the crazy, curious Scientologists know.
but as a result of the government building this complex inside the mountain, they hit the springs and they dried up. That when they were digging
Is
in
that
the back,
why I heard that the government did? I heard they were just trying to divert a river, and the Army Corps of Engineers
that's the
oh,
story.
that's the
Because why would they be
plausible.
digging in? Why would they be digging in the mountain behind where the
What do you
springs
think it
are?
is? Do you know what it is?
I have no idea actually, but I do know that there had been people at the base that went up to the top of the mountain above the
Right.
base, and
And
many
never came
times,
back.
no. When they went up there were guys with machine guns at the top of the mountain.
Oh, nice, really nice.
So, but the best part is that sometimes SPs would try to infiltrate the base, and they'd come up over the other side of the mountain, and then
Right.
these guys with machine guns would be there, and then they would say, "Oh my God, Scientology's got guys with machine guns on top of the mountain
Right.
that are
Right.
guarding," and then there's all these stories about people with machine guns guarding the base, and when I got out, I saw the stories. I was like, yeah, those weren't us. Those were the guys on the other side of the
Yeah,
mountain.
the
Those are
government.
they were trying to they would do the same to us if we went up there. So
Right.
so they dried
right.
up the springs, and then this old man Gilman, who ran the springs for all these years, he took boilers, steam boilers, and he built them into all the underground springs.
Oh my
And
God.
so he kept the springs running for like another 30, 40 years with all these boilers.
Yeah,
and
with
then-
table salt and boilers.
And then at some point, some ex-employees and all telling old Gilman secrets that the springs were no longer active, and so that's when it was sort of at the end of its days as a resort that Scientology scooped it up in. I want to say the late 70s.
Yeah, well, according to a video I did on YouTube, so it has to be true.
Yeah.
I have, what's her name? The woman Kathy Frazier, who sent me the letter telling me I needed to go sit in the corner and feel really bad about speaking out on YouTube.
Yeah.
The bad man, you're a bad man, you're a bad man. That
Yeah.
letter
In that video.
in the gold video, the one that I was in, that I did the response video to, and
Yeah.
I also did a short on it. She says when it was.
When was it?
Yeah, I don't know. I have to look again. I forgot. But
Okay.
it was like you say. It was.
It was in the 70s, late 70s.
Yeah, it was prior to
early
1980.
80s.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Oh, here's another comment from Gary Jackson Moorhead. Hey, my brothers. Jackson, you can say hey, my brothers without having to send a super chat because I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure you have both of our phone numbers. You are certainly in your groove,
Yeah.
Mark. You just said cans. I did. When you left, I said, when Mitch gets his cans back on, I will.
Oh, yeah.
I'll tell
Yeah,
you
yeah,
guys the rest of this. And
Yeah.
I might have slipped and said cans. So sorry about that, guys. Headphones is how most people refer to them.
Yeah,
in
well,
the,
I wear cans because they're actually cheaper than a good toupee.
That's a good idea. I didn't ever think of that.
Yeah. This is,
And
I'm
I
going to
have
get,
seen you wear those headphones for, almost the entire time I
yeah,
knew Mitch.
these are the headphones, exact
MDR
Sony.
7506s,
Exactly.
Sony's. But whenever Mitch would be directing, he'd be sitting at the video cart and he would usually have his headphones on, or he'd have them
But
around his
often
neck.
like this,
Yeah.
often I would just do this because,
But he always had a pair of those exact headphones.
yeah, these are
And
standard gold.
yeah,
They're
that's
good
it.
for the money. They're the best headphones you can get.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, here's another super sticker from Elizabeth Sarah. Thank you for that, Elizabeth. Appreciate it. You can ask a question if you want. Carolyn also sent us a super sticker. Thank you for that,
Nice.
Carolyn. You're
They
very
don't have
generous.
questions.
I know. Let's
That's
see
fine.
if we can actually, if you want, we can look. Is there anything else we need to talk about for the film? I can't think of anything else.
I don't know. I mean, the film was this particular production. Once we got through the whole air flight thing, blah blah blah, it was relatively uneventful compared to, let's say, the next film we're going to talk about, where we almost killed people. But
well,
one person.
Yeah.
But then
which film are you talking about?
I'm talking about the Tier 14, which I think we should do next.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah, because that was the one we were shooting in hell with real fire.
Yes.
And the puppeteer who was working the devil's tail and stuff, he was up in the greens, up in the scaffolding on a studio, probably 60 feet off the ground on a 2-foot wide board. And it was so about 120 degrees up there, and he fell asleep and he almost rolled off.
Yes.
It would have been, I'm laughing, but it would have been. Anyway, yeah. So, we had a lot of stories from that one. But
we do. Okay. If you do have a question, there's, I see Cece, our friend Cece, Claire did a video with her. She's sort of like my boy's adopted grandmother. Cece's Comfort Cooking. She has a YouTube channel on SPTV. Hi, everybody from Hannibal, Missouri. Cece's Comfort Cooking. Anybody who hasn't subscribed to Cece's channel should get over there too. Thank you, Cece. Hi there. Okay, let's just see. I don't see. Usually, if you have a question, people put in question before it. And so I don't see a lot of those. So, I mean, we are really, really deep in the Scientology weeds with these videos. But, a lot of people that aren't in the film industry or aren't in the TV or Hollywood or whatever, and weren't in Scientology, this is all new stuff to them. So there you go. Whatever.
Yeah. Also, I mean, I really can't stress enough, going back to talking about solo auditing itself, what an incredible, massive scam this is. I mean, it's getting people to audit themselves, getting people to pay like a lot of money to just go into a room or at home for hours and hours and hours and do this, and then present that to people like it was some solution to them not having to go to England. That's really all it was. It's pretty amazing, the whole aspect of it.
Yeah, and I think you're right. I think you would audit when you get to, the place where you do this solo auditing is after you learn about
Xenu and the Body Thetans, my favorite rock band.
Yeah, when you learn about Xenu and you learn about the Body Thetans, after you do all that, you then are supposed to audit yourself and get rid of all these Body Thetans.
Right, you got to talk to them clairvoyantly.
Yeah, but this goes on for years, guys.
Yeah.
Like you could spend, there's people in Scientology right now who've been doing this for 10, 15, 20 years.
Yeah.
And you do it yourself, and you're supposed to do it several times a day.
Right.
And you have a briefcase, and you got to lock it up, and you got to lock up your folder that you keep all your notes in. But every 6 months, for however long you do it, if it's 20 years, every 6 months, you have to do what's called a 6th-month check. And
Right.
so you say, I'm auditing. Well, every 6 months, you got to basically turn in all your documentation that you have been doing this auditing.
Yeah, you have to go to Clearwater to do it, right?
You have to go to Clearwater, Florida, which that's this place they call the Flag Land Base, or FLB, or Clearwater, whatever. You go there, and then they interview you on the meter. You're not doing anything solo when you
Well,
get there.
interview. That's a nice way of putting it, Mark. That's
you,
like,
you basically get the good old scrub down to see
yeah,
if there's
yeah,
if there's a speck of dirt on you,
yeah.
then you need to pay for them to clean up that dirt.
Oh, big time.
And if you haven't been um, auditing as much as you're supposed to, or maybe you told your significant other about the body thetans, or they're asking you all this stuff. Because they got to keep the wraps on this whole Xenu story, which
Right.
now to me seems very. I mean, they have a very, very intricate security system to keep this Xenu stuff private and confidential. But you can just go on the internet and go to a South Park episode, and you'll find out pretty much the 90% of the story with nothing. So I'm not sure what they're keeping secret anymore. But regardless. That is this solo auditor film, and the solo auditor course is what you have to do in order to start auditing and addressing these tens of thousands of space aliens that are stuck to you.
I never got rid of all mine. I actually started to become real friendly with them after a while.
I was hanging out with Xenu the other night because Xenu is my homeboy.
Right.
You can go to the Blown for Good store and get Xenu as my homeboy mugs, stickers, hats, and
go now
and hoodies.
Don't wait.
But when I was hanging out with Xenu the other day, he said he's got plans to make a whole bunch of more body thetans because that planet of his, or solar system or whatever was overpopulated. It's not like they getting rid of all those souls solved it. It just kind of kept it at bay.
He never counted on immigration. Immigration is what killed them.
Well,
from other star systems, they had all these people immigrate.
I was just saying, once the Intergalactic Federation changed ownership or whatever, changed management, things have just gone to shit in the universe. Okay,
totally. Hey, there's a question. Oh, let me see if I can find it. Oh, from Andy Fabulous. There's no super. Here, let me start right now.
There you go. If you just star which ones you want to bring up, then I can just pull those up.
My star, I can't star.
What brand is it? What brand of liqueur does Xenu drink?
Yeah,
Andy Fabulous. What brand of beer / liquor does Xenu drink?
I don't. That's an interesting question. Probably, I would think German beer. I would think something.
I'll find out. I mean,
you can research that.
Yeah, or we could just make one up and then tell everybody that that's the one.
Yeah. So Andy back.
It does have to have some sort of semblance to the answer. So it can't just be like, oh, he likes Tito's. We got to make up a good backstory.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Glycol.
Exactly.
Probably glycol and something else, because that's what he used when he froze those guys. He had a lot of glycol on hand. So whatever we put, it's got to have some glycol in it.
Okay. So check this out. Back for I'm going to work on that immediately.
Yeah.
We'll have the beer. We'll have that answer on the next when we do the next film. We'll probably even have an illustration of it.
Yeah. Was there another Andy
I have to. Andy Fabulous at 404. He just asked a question. It's no variety.
Okay, good. I'll go to it.
Because I can't star. Next time you need to give me that extra.
I don't know how that works.
I'll have to ask Aaron. He knows. He's got all the inside dope.
I think
you see this?
Share. Yeah, I'm at 404. I'm just looking.
You see Andy Fabulous. He had a question. Mitch, did you need to study? This is a really interesting question. It has a very simple answer.
I think it's on your channel, so I can't see.
Oh, really? Okay, but I can't click on it. It doesn't go. But anyway, the question is, I can't show it. The question is, Mitch, did you need to stay up on human psychology in order to make a film that could capture a person into brainwashing themselves? The answer to that is no, because I had L. Ron Hubbard as my co-pilot. Yes. He did all that heavy lifting for me. I just had to make it look good. So no, I did not have to know anything about human psychology, although I did know a lot about human psychology. And the Church of Scientology would be shocked at how much Eastern philosophy and research psychology I drew upon for writing their television ads, because I couldn't find anything that Hubbard wrote that was worth using to inspire for an ad. So anyway, that's the answer. He did all that stuff. I just put what we did, me and Mark, we just put the shit on tapes, or we made it into films, but we didn't have to know jack all about psychology.
You know,
psychology wasn't even a thing, right?
yeah, I don't even. I mean, I haven't even read Dianetics, so you didn't
Yeah.
have to be versed in
Well, no,
Scientology.
I had to read it 4 times under
No,
Gestapo supervision. So
he did.
that's
But I'm just saying, in order for me to do my job, I
right.
just needed to be a good worker. I didn't need to know
Yeah, no,
anything
you were lucky,
really
Mark. You were
about
lucky. You
Scientology.
got to keep most of your identity. It's one of the things I admire about you. You got to keep most of your identity intact and your resilience, and just develop good work ethic. I mean, you're like
I
in that
appreciate
way.
it.
I think it's true. In that way, I think you're fortunate. And that there's a few people like that. I think Sterling is like that as well. Sterling
Yeah,
Tompkins. Yeah, he's like, there were a number of people, and they're like, who joined the Sea Org, and they were more Sea Org workers than they were Scientologists,
yeah.
and so Scientology didn't really have a real chance to dump its stink on them.
Yeah,
You
you know,
know,
I think you're really right. I was trying to think of another person like that. I think you're right. Sterling is another one of those. He grew up in there,
there's a
but he
few.
was really just working. He never really. I want to. I don't. I'll
I heard
ask
him
him.
talking about it today. He didn't do jack all with
Oh, he
Scientology.
didn't. Okay,
No,
I
he
didn't
did
know. I
like
don't want to say, oh, he didn't do jack all. And he's like,
no,
dude, I spent
he
7
was
years
talking to Aaron
studying.
today, and he's like, I did this student hat was just like as far as he got.
Oh yeah, so he's
Yeah.
a green weenie too, when it comes to
No,
all the
he's just
brainwashing.
not. He's unadulterated with all that crazy shit that just it just
Yeah,
can you just here. Let me take my identity and I'll rip it out.
yeah,
And okay, you can take that, and let me take this one, and I'll just I'll take this one. Okay, I
yeah,
have body things. That's who I
yeah,
am. And you're like, what? You just lose your
yeah.
identity. So
Okay, here's a good one. John Satowski, thank you for that, John. Did Mitch do cameo walk through like Hitchcock? You know, I don't think you were. I
no,
don't
I
remember
wasn't.
you
I did
ever being
one.
in
I
one
did
film.
one. I did
Which
one.
one?
No, I did. No, you were in it. We were both in a film together. In the Doll film with Danny Masterson.
Oh yes, okay,
There, I ran down the stairs. There was a shot, just feet running down the stairs. It was
yes,
supposed to be one particular character, and the guy, he was not a good. I needed a person to shuffle down the stairs, and I had an exact visual image of it.
yeah,
And we did like 50 takes, and I said, grabbed the guy, dragged him to wardrobe. I took his costume off, and then I just ran down. I shuffled down the stairs the way I wanted it to be. And that was like my big cameo. I did in the Way to Happiness films. I did a full on, but that was
yeah,
years later, and that's whatever. That's not a tech film, so it's not special because only the
yeah.
tech films were
Only
really
the tech
special.
films are special.
Yeah.
Gary Jackson Moorhead says, "I have the deets and info on the water and test sites back there." He's talking about the secret government facility.
No machine
No
guns.
machine guns. Oh
What?
man,
No.
that's a
No.
bummer. Well, yeah. So that's the thing. Maybe these people that went up there and said they were machine guns, maybe they were just. Maybe they brought them. I don't know. I don't know where the machine guns ever came from. But there were Lockheed security that were up there. I don't know about the guns part.
Well, it
Andy
might have been. They might have
Fabulous.
been intermittent machine
Yes.
guns.
Might have been when they
Maybe
were up to
Jackson
stuff.
didn't. They said, "Oh, Jackson's coming. Put the machine guns away."
Remember the movie Heaven Can Wait? Mitch should do a movie called Scientology Can Wait for LRH.
Yeah, I got better things to do.
Yeah.
What would that be? That would be like, I don't know.
I think somebody should do a Xenu thing. It would be amazing if you knew the whole Xenu story. And this is sort of my argument for Scientologists. Okay, let's pretend the Xenu thing is 100% true and Hubbard nailed it.
Right.
If there is a space alien capable of dimensional travel that spent 9 weeks at light speed to bring billions and billions of people from his solar system to our solar system, and that's a real thing.
Yeah, in DC-9s.
In DC-9s that had space jets instead of propellers.
Right. Well, they look like DC-9s, but
this
they
is what
weren't.
Hubbard said in the thing that the space planes that Lord Xenu used for intergalactic travel, they look like DC-9s. Is that a McDonnell Douglas plane, a DC-9?
I believe so. Yeah. A Boeing. No, I think it's Boeing.
Boeing. Okay, so
But
Boeing.
I went to
and
art school. I don't know about that.
International Galactic Dictator used the same manufacturer. Who would have known? Anyway,
It makes sense.
if all that is true, then why would Scientology put all their trust in a guy named Dave? to protect them from all that. He doesn't have anything that Xenu's got.
No.
So I'm just saying, if it's all real, Xenu's my homeboy. I'm signing up with him. He's got some cool tech, or not. Who knows? Okay, here's the Xenu cocktail. It's already done. John Satowski says the Xenu cocktail is rum, vodka, tequila, gin, and whiskey on the rocks. You will feel like you were hit with a hydrogen bomb.
Wow. I'm telling you, the fan contribution here is over the top.
I'm not sure if you can get a Xenu cocktail. You're going to have to use a little of all. I like rum and I like vodka. Tequila, gin, and whiskey. I'm not the.
Well,
I mean,
I don't know. If you put some kind of like
a mixer.
Yeah, like a mixer, like a citrusy mixer.
Yeah, like a ginger ale or maybe
like
lemon juice or a
yeah,
lime juice.
I think this could work.
Could do the Xenu Mule. Maybe we can make a Xenu Mule.
We could just do this one time, Mark. We could just get all the ingredients out and just do a Xenu mixology session where we try different.
Mark and Mitch make a drink.
Make a Xenu cocktail.
Anyway, let's work on this one. I like the bones of it, John, but let's just we gotta workshop it. I'm not just gonna say this is it, but it could be. I don't know. We have to try it. Okay, let's. Do you think we should show this document?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So guys, let me just set this up. So we're talking about these films that we were shooting. Well, a lot of times there would be these events. We've talked about Gold putting on these Scientology events. DC-8 is a McDonnell Douglas, by the way.
Thank you very much for that.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for all my aerospace knowledge is paying off. So we would shoot these events or shoot these films, and then sometimes David Miscavige would release them at an event. And most of the people that worked on the films or the videos would also work on the events. So there was a sort of a mixed crew. But to put on the event was also its own production in its own right. It could take months and months to put together one of these events in terms of the content of the event. There was a stage, so the sets and props guys that built the sets and the props for the films would also have to build the sets and props for the event. And
let me ask you, Mark, how long were these events?
What do you mean?
In the length, like what? How?
It usually would be anywhere from 2 to 3 hours.
Not a small little thing.
No, it was a lot of content. It was a lot of production. And David Miscavige, he wanted the same production value that he was getting out of the films. He wanted the same or better for these events. And that is why the same guys who shot the Super Bowl were the guys that shot these events. So, or set up the broadcast truck and tuned all the cameras up and did the audio and the live, like, okay, go camera 2 and set camera 3 and take camera 3, you know, like the guy directing the videoing of this event. And so one of these events could have 100 people that had to work on it to put it on. And if the event went badly, then those 100 people were now in the shit. And they would be like, until the next event, they'd basically be in trouble until they were redeemed on the next event. Or if they did so badly, then they were off the event crew and they would get moved into the grounds department to, you know, mow lawns or trim trees or to clean the sidewalks, or they just get put on something that had nothing to do with anything. So if we did one of these events and it went well, that was a rare occurrence. It was actually like there were 7, depending on the year, there's anywhere from 6 to 10 of these events a year. And sometimes David Miscavige would just decide that we weren't going to do a certain event, or we would do a certain event and it'd be even bigger than we normally do. So it could go either way. But one of the events that we'd go to in England was called the IAS event, the International Association of Scientologists.
Biggest money-making event of the year.
They could make anywhere from 20 to 50 to $100 million at one of these events, because what they would do is the events that took place in America throughout the year, they would hit these people up at every single one of those events. they'd hit up a bunch of people. But at the IAS event, only the richest, most dedicated members from all over the world are sort of invited to this event. And
and they got showcased, right? Like, for example, you hear about these IAS, the membership, whatever, I forget what they're called right now.
Patron,
status,
meritorious.
So if you earn one of these statuses, then it would be announced at this IAS event. You'd get called out for it. So this was a big deal in Scientology culture. Go ahead.
And if you gave, like, there's different statuses, but the ones that get you a picture with David Miscavige, they start in the hundreds or millions of dollars to get to that status.
And this was the event where Tom Cruise famously got the dinner plate sized award.
The Flava Flav. Scientology award.
Yeah, this is a big, this particular event, like Mark said earlier, there'd be a certain number of events, maybe they do some, maybe they wouldn't, but there were these tentpole events they'd always do. New Year's, L. Ron Hubbard's birthday, the anniversary of the Free Wind ship, and the IES. These would always be done. And then there may be a Dianetic celebration, an Auditor Day. There may be other ones, but always these IES. That's a big deal. I mean, they hire the royal caterer. I mean, they do like crazy stuff.
Yeah. Well, so an event we would put on for IAS, that's about $1 million. Scientology would spend. And so Scientology, the Church of Scientology International, would spend money to make things for that event. And the IAS, the International Associations of Scientologists International, would bear the brunt of the major portion of that budget. And they had a dictate that the maximum of money that could be spent would be the interest on their earnings of their investments. They could not spend more on a budget than what they're making on the interest of their investments.
Amazing. I did not know that.
Yeah, so we would always, and they would calculate out how much they needed for the year based on whatever they were making. Somebody somewhere had an exact figure. So when we would do one of these events, they'd already, before we'd start, they'd say, you have $987,042 to spend on this event. If you go over, you're spending the money. So if you go over, Scientology, Church of Scientology International will have to pay for anything that goes over. And so the IAS and Dave would brag all the time, I'm only spending $1 million on this event, and I'm making anywhere from 50 to 100 times that on the event. So they'd bring in all these big wigs and all these whales from all over Europe, and from the United States, people would come there. If you gave a certain amount, you'd get announced. And if you gave us one of these big heavy hitter amounts, then you would often you'd get to go up on stage with David Miscavige, and he would stand with you, and you basically get a photo op with David Miscavige.
Right.
And in the Scientology world, if I go into your house and you have a picture of you on stage with David Miscavige up on the wall, you might as well be Scientology royalty. So,
yeah, and your trophy, you get your insane bowling trophy.
Yes, and the trophies would cost. We would produce these trophies in Los Angeles. We're produced at a place, I think it's called Hollywood Trophy off of Western. But some of these trophies would be, $400, $500 for a $40,000 donation or a $100,000 donation. When these guys are donating millions and millions of dollars,
they got diamonds
$20,000-$30,000 on a trophy for them.
Yeah.
Like literally $30,000 on a trophy.
And we've already seen one of those from one particular unfortunate individual end up on eBay. And
they're all over the place. Mike's got one in his office.
But
I think he has the Richie Acunto one.
Oh, did he get? That's the one I'm talking about.
Oh, I'm pretty sure it's at Mike's house.
That one was for I think I read that the person who bought it sent it over to Mike because he should have it. I think Richie Acunto had given. I think it was $10 million. I want
to say it was tens of millions. He eventually ended up going bankrupt.
But he did go bankrupt.
before he passed away.
Yeah, and he had his all of his swag was in one of these storage units, and then he never paid. He couldn't afford to pay the bill, so it got sold on like Container Wars, like one of those kind of operations where the people bid on them.
Mark Fisher said, "Does Mark realize the Xenu cocktail is still on screen?"
Hell yeah!
It was just living down there by itself, and it wasn't bothering us, so I left.
Yeah, hell yeah, yeah. Hi, Mark. Hi, Mark. We should say hi to Mark.
Yes, hello, Mark Fisher in the house.
Yeah.
Sorry, excuse me. So, the IAS event was this major moneymaker. Well, the document that we have to show you tonight is from that event, and miraculously, and I don't know if there is one other document in all of Scientology that was published to the entire international headquarters that has Mitch's name on it and my name on it. That's
except maybe some knowledge reports.
Well, no, but I'm saying that went to everybody, that everybody got to see.
That's true. That's true. But also, this was from a time when, well, you're going to explain what it is, but this type of document is very special. It didn't happen very much.
Yes.
And today for the last 15 years, hasn't happened at all.
Yeah. Okay. So let me put it up. Okay. Let me make sure we can get our little. I got another one that kind of will do both of us big here. There we go. Okay. So I don't know if you can read it. It's not the biggest thing in the world. I'm putting it up there, and I'm going to pull up another copy of it here. Sorry, I didn't have this all set up beforehand. Okay, perfect. Okay, so I've got another copy of it here, and it says Executive Directive. Anything that is issued to the property is called some sort of executive directive.
Yeah, and this would be from the office of EDN, no, wouldn't it?
No, this is an executive directive. It can come from any executive.
Oh, this one is from Gold. Yeah, okay.
Yes, so this one is a Gold executive directive.
Right.
So you would assume it was written. We'll get to the bottom. I don't remember who wrote it. It's probably Jason Bennick or something.
Yeah, it was. Like it was because you're right. It was.
So it says Executive Directive Gold ED 3,337. There were 3,336 of these before this one.
No, I think they started.
They're not always good
to make it look good.
I don't think so. They didn't do that there. Okay. It says Gold ED 3337, 20 October 1994. All base crew commendation IAS 10th anniversary event. The IAS 10th anniversary event was held this year at LRH's home, St. Hill Manor in the UK. The event was a tremendous success. Public in attendance strongly stated that they could and should be doing much more to contribute towards all aspects of Scientology expansion.
Yeah, that's the mark. Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say that's the marker of success.
Yes.
That's how they measure success. Did the people who attend feel they were not doing enough?
Exactly. If you watch that Tom Cruise crazy video of him getting the award,
right,
in the end, you will see that his message is 100% aligned with David Miscavige's message, which is, if you are watching this, you're not doing enough. If you're in Scientology and you're watching us right now, you're not doing enough. Look at all these other people and what they're doing and how you're not doing anything. That's your takeaway from the event. Right. Okay, Gold was quite instrumental in producing this result from the event properties produced.
Instrumental? They made the whole entire thing. What the hell is that?
Well, to be fair, international management are responsible for the events, and Golden Era Productions is just a tiny little piece of that. And also because the IAS paid for it, there's a little bit of political interpolitical Sea Org speak in here to not make it look like Gold did all the work, even though Gold did all the work.
Yeah, 100%.
Gold was quite instrumental in producing this result from the event properties produced. That just means the content that was shown at the event, all the way through to the event itself being a success, because Gold lit and produced and filmed and set the props up and everything else. As a result, the following commendations are issued. Now, in the Sea Org, if you do something really, really good and you're commended, that's great. But if you're highly commended, you might even be able to take a day off next week.
Yeah, and I just want to add that these things are supposed to counterbalance knowledge reports that are in your ethics
Yes.
folder.
Yeah, this
Like
is
they're supposed to wipe each. They don't. They
yeah, this
never
could be
do.
worth, you might have done 20 bad things. This could blow those all out and just clean the slate for you again. That doesn't
Yeah,
always happen, but
maybe for a
sometimes.
week or two.
Yeah. Highly commended. The below are highly commended for their professional work on this year's IES 10th anniversary event. Now, if this is the fact, if Jason really did write this, it totally makes sense. He's the first person he commended. It says
my
Jason
God.
Bennick. He's the first name on the list.
Yeah, he should have just put me.
I'm going to skip to the end. Yep, Warrant Officer Jason Bennick. He did write this.
Yeah.
The first person he commended was himself. Okay, Jason Bennick. I'm going to read all these names, and you'll see why when we're done. Jason Bennick, Gary Weesey, Nick Kinsella, Rick Cruz, and Ray McKay, Cindy Rayner, Stephen Lewis, Larry Jacobs, Chris Ray, Frank Fenn, Steve Marley, Jeff Baker, Gary Liu, Camilla Jarko, Phyllis Drake. Commended. The below are commended for their professional work on this event. Steve Young, Peter Lewis, Brooke Shackleton, Sherry Moorhead, Maureen Bolstadt, Adam Purcell, Cliff Thomas, Mark Headley, Gary Hunter, Bertie Magnuson, Sarney Wiley, Josh Hemphill, Ulf Olfson, Bruce Plotz, Cleve Carlson, Paul Sarkany, Wilson Iquez, Izzy Ramirez, John Gonzalez, Charlie Rush, and Mike Eves. Okay, that's mostly, those two top columns are mostly the event executives and then the event crew. So those top people are in both sections of the film production and the event production, and that's probably why they're at the top, because they did double duty. These people that are listed below most likely worked on one or the other, maybe not both. Okay, in addition to who may have participated above, the below staff are also commended, specifically for their participation in the production of the IES event videos and making them the best event videos we have produced to date. Mitch Brisker, Claudio Olander, Barbara Mace, Chris Mayfield, Mike Lemeron, Jim Pettigrew, Evelyn Borglund, Ogla Enan, Ron Somerville, Adam Lewis, Andrew Bradley, Julia Ellis, Todd Yamaguchi, Sheila Freeberry, Philip Doswell, Francesco Frau, Larry Madsen, Dave West, Sean Morrison, Lisa Schroer, Hilly Desatel, Marcus Swanson, Sean Alcock, Nancy Julian, Kim Fries, Tim Larson, Tom Armstrong, Peter Blecka, John Thomas, Walter Wilkins, Tony Pinder, Johan Olson, Becky Williams, Sadie Mayfield, Randy Kreitz, Marco Gazzetti, Paul Eves, Phil Sherlock, Jennifer Demers, Megan Ray, Gwen Kolf, Axel Johansson, Jessica Weinecke, Eric Geisler, Henning Bendorf, Bob Stearns, Bill Foster, Tori Schell, Vicky Pearson, Dan Anderson, Lilia Estrada, Don Edwards, Shannon Geweiler, Jack Sheehan, Fed Tizzy, Randall Gillian. And then there's a page 2. Stevie Duncan, Ron Miscavige, Neil Coonan, Gareth Freeberry, Carl Leach, Linda Greeley, Chris Olander, Denise Friend, Mike Ogletree, Bert Drake, Lisa Frau, Jim Pearson, Fabala Frank, Peter Schless, Mickey Estrada, Steve Cook, Tom McMurray, McHenry Ellis, Russ Greelick. That's all of the list of names. Warrant Officer Jason Bennick, General Manager Gold, authorized by LRH Com Gold for Church of Scientology International, and then it has the signatories, and I know all the names of the people.
So,
Nathaniel,
what's the word I'm trying to say? Official, no?
yes.
So
Nathaniel
official.
Epstein, JB for Jason Bennick, JB for Jason Bennick, LC Gold, CSI. Okay, that's a lot of people. Now this, I don't actually. Sometimes they say at the end, they'll put a little thing here. The above people are awarded a day off, or like if there was something that came with it, you'd get like the prize at the end. And I don't think, I'm just going to show the second page because I didn't show that up on the slide there. That's the second page. You guys can see that there. This is an official document. There wasn't a prize, and I think on this one, what might have happened, and I'm pretty sure this is what happened, when we were in the UK, Dave said, it was a great event. He made millions and millions and millions of dollars. And he probably said, you guys should take a day off. And we might have gone into London, or we might have done something. I remember on this specific event that I was about to get on a Concorde because we missed our broadcast window, and we had to broadcast the video there to broadcast to all of the organizations all over the world the next day. And we missed our window, and the tape had to get to New York by some time. And I was going to get on a Concorde and fly the tape to the broadcast center. And then we ended up just getting a new window that would get there before the plane. So I didn't.
Oh, you missed a shot of you didn't make the Concorde?
I didn't, but because everybody got the
man.
day off the next day, and we were running around doing all this video nonsense, we were in London, but we were just working to try to figure out how to get the broadcast. We stayed up all night after the event doing the edit and checking it and making sure it was all good. And then we spent the whole day driving around, getting lost in London and going to satellite places and messing it up and not getting our window, and the tape was wrong and this was wrong. And so I don't think we actually ended up getting the day off.
Yeah, fun but stressful, running around England London like that.
Yeah, it was not fun at all.
Oh.
Anyway, so that is that. Okay, now this is a fun little thing, because I thought to myself, I wonder how many of these people are still there. This was in 1994, arguably a while ago. But the people...
Well, considering that they've signed a billion-year contract...
Yeah, you would think a lot of them are still there. Okay, I'm going to show you...
A billion years ain't gone by yet.
I'm going to show you the document, and the people that are not there, we've crossed them out. Okay, here we go. This is who's there. This is who's still there. If their name is not crossed out, I do not know definitively that they are not still there. The people that are crossed out, I am 99.9% sure that they're either declared a suppressive person, they escaped, and then they were declared a suppressive person, or they got just kicked out of the Sea Org for being bad Sea Org members.
Yeah. My own verification says 100% you are correct. There's maybe 2 people on here who left the Sea Org but are still in Scientology.
Oh yeah, no, the best person that we'll talk about is on the very beginning of the document. The guy who commended himself, the first person, Jason Bennick, he's still a Scientologist, but he was obliterated from the Ent Base, and he was kicked out of the Sea Org by David Miscavige.
Yeah, but he gets pulled in. He gets pulled in as an apologist.
He does, because he was at the Ent Base. He's like, no, everything was wonderful there.
Dave is a great guy. He never hit me or punched me or locked me up or nothing. He's the total best guy I ever worked for. That's why I'm no longer working there. Yeah,
and Jason Bennick was one of the people that he beat up and yelled at the most.
He was just a punching bag. Jason punching bag. Yeah, he was a cross between a pit bull, a lapdog, and a border collie when it came to obedience.
Yep, that's exactly what he was. And here, so I'll just show the second page. That's the first page, and then you can look on the second page. Everyone's crossed out, including the person who wrote it and the person who approved it. They're all gone, long gone.
Yeah, and when and most of these, I mean, like, there hasn't been a lot of people coming up there in a long time.
No, I mean,
the youngest person up there is in their 40s. So
yeah, I would say that they were getting, when in the 90s, there could be 20 or 30 new people a year.
Oh yeah, they were getting lots of people.
And then I want to say in the late 90s and definitely into the 2000s, there might be 1 or 2 people that would.
They hired some pros, but I know the last guy that came up, he's from a foreign country, I think a Scandinavian country. He's on one, because that's a very specialized skill to be able to translate. And I think he's in his 40s. I used to joke that Gold's going to be an old age home for Sea Org workers, which is really, like, they have the facilities to house people, but it could end up being just like the old age home. So
I mean, they're basically doing busy work at this point. They're not doing anything that anyone needs.
No, that's not true. But I don't want to sound like an apologist. No, they're still making films. They're making the tech films over. Okay.
Again?
Oh, always, Mark. They'll always be doing it. They always, because Dave likes to keep them busy, and they're doing programming. We actually, I have a couple of the films I did when I got sent back to Gold. I was doing films. L. Ron Hubbard said all of his books, his basic books, and all of everything he wrote, all of his letters and his essays, everyone should be converted into a film. So I've made some of these films from some of his lectures for the TV network. So they're still doing all that stuff. But it's just cine. It's just cine. They're making some films. They just
Yeah.
have their little unit over there, right? And the
Well, they're
editing,
not manufacturing anything.
nothing. Well, no, it's not totally true. Let's do a little briefing on what Gold does.
Oh,
Here's
wow.
here's what they do. Okay,
Yeah.
they have compiled a mountain of analog material over the years, analog videotapes, documents, audio tapes, photos, and they scan those.
Okay.
That's what all of your executives are doing. That's what Guillermo Lazareb and Greg Wilhare, that's Kurt Whelan, all those guys.
They're
They're
scanning
sitting,
stuff.
they're digitizing and scanning. It's mind-numbing work.
Oh, wow. And
Yeah,
also also you could just farm all that out.
yeah, you could. You could. I mean, some of the digitizing, because think about all the different audio formats. I mean,
Yeah.
video formats, Mark.
Well, both audio too. They have to take all that analog. They have
Yeah,
miles and I'd say millions of miles
just
of
tons.
analog tape. Yeah.
Tons, and they just digitize them all day long. That's all they do. They do that, and the titanium boxes that they
Oh, yeah.
put in the vaults.
Yeah, they were making those in the castle.
No. They don't make anything. They do film. That's a whole other thing. Like nobody can
Okay.
figure out everything that they do. They do the gift packing.
Okay.
In other words, they put it in the box.
They get it ready.
Yeah, they get it ready, and then it gets sent up for finishing at CST. CST, they do the final argon gas.
CST
blah, blah, blah.
is Church of Spiritual Technology.
that
They're
we're
responsible.
also known as Hotel California, where Shirley Miscavige lives. Okay.
They're the ones that are responsible for taking all of L. Ron Hubbard's written and spoken and filmed words and putting it into titanium capsules on stainless steel plates and gold records and all these other things.
Yeah, it's
so
crazy.
That they can withstand a nuclear holocaust.
Yeah, or a weather event. The documentary that they because remember when Hubbard made the order to do this, the fear was nuclear war. Today, the fear is a weather event. So no, I'm serious. So think about it, right? We're going to have rising tides and the skies go. If you look at the documentary on Scientology Media Productions,
that's a weather event now.
Well, hold on, which I highly recommend you look, because
we should do a reaction video so we don't send people over to Scientology.
No. Why not? Send them over there. It doesn't help them at all. They don't capture IP addresses. Mark, I know this. I worked there.
Okay.
They don't. It doesn't help them at all. There's no metric. It doesn't help them.
Use a VPN if you go over there, folks. I'm not saying anything, but use a VPN if you go over there. Bag it before you go to their site. Okay.
Yeah, you want to wrap it before you tap it.
Yes.
Okay. Anyway, but the reason
that's not a tech film saying, by the way. Wrap it before you tap it. That is not a tech film. Not a tech film saying.
No, but if you watch the film, it opens up with a bunch of a montage of weather events.
Yes.
Like the apocalyptic weather events, because they always are going to push what the big end of the world fear is.
That's true.
But I just have to say, I know this is off topic, but we're sort of ran out of that topic anyway.
Yeah.
This is something we can get into some other time if you want.
Yeah.
Because I did a bunch of work on that whole CST thing. But
that would be amazing.
Yeah, I was on with Karen de la Carriere when I made the announcement about Norman Starkey passing away.
Yes.
Karen de la Carriere, and I brought Jeffrey Augustine on because he was the one who confirmed it for me. I mean, the source that I got that from 100% didn't need confirmation, but I thought people are going to want to see a document.
Sure.
Jeffrey dug something up. Karen came on and she said, blew my mind. She said, what about the confidential materials? Are they on the box? Nobody's ever asked this question.
That's true.
Yeah. Okay. But it's not just that. And then I got confirmation from Dylan Gill. He called me up and he said, hey, wait a minute. I think she's right. We scanned them. We transcribed them, but I don't remember them ever going into a box.
Well,
so
I'll tell you this: we had at the Ent base, we had a special department in manufacturing, which was the upper advanced materials manufacturing.
Right.
And it was only like 3 or 4 people that could work in there because they had to do all that stuff. And
I worked in there.
But those people came from CST.
Okay, but I worked on the confidential films.
Yeah.
Because I was like OT5, whatever, doesn't matter, and OT bullshit. And then I was able to work on those. But here's the real question, okay? Let's just say they all are in the vault. They transcribe the whole Xenu story and all of Hubbard's handwritten, like this, whatever it is, it tells the whole thing, right? let's say they're in there. Okay, so in order for you to do your OT levels, okay, you have to pass a gatekeeper. OSHA is going to gather up every folder on you. They're going to read every report. They're going to put you down with a sec checker. They're going to whoa, they're going to just squeeze any possible thing you've ever done before you have to be certified that it's okay for you to go on these. And if you access them early, you're going to die
of pneumonia.
Yeah. So how can you just put these in a box for some poor suckers? If you say that that's true, that whole story.
That's a great point.
And how can you put them in a box for some numbnuts to just stumble on?
Well, also, I don't know how I literally, this my question, that's a good question.
Nobody's ever brought this up.
My questions always be like, okay, let's pretend the weather event happens or the nuclear or something or whatever.
Right. Combination thereof.
And I've been to one of these facilities. I've been to the one in New Mexico.
I never got to go.
I've been to I went afterwards. I drove there with John Sweeney, a reporter from the BBC.
Oh, okay.
But
you didn't go inside.
We couldn't. They didn't let us in.
You know, the one in New Mexico, I've heard that's where the gold bullion and the jewels are.
That's what I've heard. That's why.
Yeah.
It's only a few hour drive for me. Anyway, so we went there.
Oh, right.
And but it took us hours and hours to find it when we knew where it was.
Really?
I don't know how someone's going to happen upon this place after a weather event that we could barely get to it in the middle of the desert on currently
with GPS
roads with GPS and a big vehicle. I don't know how someone's just going to be like walking along and be like, oh, and then it's going to be in this vault. They're just going to go like, and they're going to open the vault. I don't know.
Dude, they're going to be looking for food.
That's right. That's exactly. And what I thought if there is some sort of event and it's like everybody for themselves, if you want to get some gold, write a note of where these places are at and have a way to get to them
after the zombie apocalypse.
Yeah, because these vaults essentially, whether they are or aren't on paper, they're filled with precious metals. Okay.
Yeah, titanium.
They're filled with titanium, and that's probably where they're putting their gold and their
apparently
silver and their other stuff.
Apparently, Hubbard said for when he comes back and whatever, to survive in the future, money's going to be no good. You're going to need jewels and gold.
Well,
right?
They're putting his material on gold records. Okay.
Yeah.
What can you melt down for currency?
Yeah, and there's titanium. Records. You can't really melt titanium without advanced technology.
Yeah.
But you can't cut it into like spears. You can make it into weapons for hunting. So
sure.
This is really handy stuff.
I'm just saying, if the zombie apocalypse happens and you want to hole up somewhere very secure,
you could do worse.
New Mexico, Running Springs. I suppose there's one in Montana or something. I don't know all the locations.
Well, isn't there one at the old
Creston?
Creston, right.
I don't know if that's just his house or if they have a vault there too.
I heard there was a vault there.
Well, he was keeping cash in the barn in Creston.
Anyway, I want to make a movie about some poor suckers like opening this shit up in the future and dying of pneumonia. It's just like, the hell is that?
We got, hey, Denver Steve-O says, yes, Goldie, he knew. I don't know what that means, but hey, Denver Steve-O.
Hey, okay. Mark, hold on, Mark. Before you forget, look on the starred ones. We got a couple we got to answer. We got one from Claire that we have to
here
answer.
we go. Oh, Xenu drink, outer space vodka, Mountain Dew with lime cherries. Lime and cherries. Okay.
I like that.
Outer space vodka. I don't know what outer space vodka is.
It's any vodka that you have that you can.
Well, no, but maybe there's a vodka called outer space vodka. I don't know if that's a thing. I don't want to diss their brand, but outer space vodka, Mountain Dew, lime, and cherries. I love it. I love that better. I hate to break it to you, John Satowski, but that is, and actually I did say like a Xenu mule, and that is sort of a very close cousin to a mule, also, the vodka and the lime.
Oh, yeah. You're not allowed to show their brand because I found it. Claire nailed it.
Is it outer space vodka?
Yeah, I can't. It won't work on my camera, but
there's
see the alien thing there? It's an
I'll
alien head bottle.
Perfect. I'm gonna get it.
You need to work on it.
Thank
you, Claire. Hey, how does Claire know about outer space vodka?
Well,
and you don't.
because Claire's got the Google machine that she can run while I'm
Oh,
yapping
okay.
here.
Okay. So this
I'm
wasn't.
gonna say that's what it is, even though she's a total lush. There is a guy.
I don't believe that.
There is a guy. His name is John Roker, and
Yeah.
he shot. He's a video director. He
Yeah.
did Green Day's. He's done a bunch of work with Green Day
Uh-huh.
on, I think, the American Idiot tour and video and film, and he's done album art and stuff like that. And when I first got out, he had started a religion. It's called
Like for real?
It's
Like,
called Lushatology. And he did this little trailer, and he was like, we don't want your money, we just want your liver. And then he would go to
oh, that's awesome.
these liquor stores, and he'd be like, and he went to Scientology in the video. I'll see if I can find the video, and I'll put it
Please.
up on the channel.
That sounds awesome.
But he goes to Scientology. He's like, we're not like these guys. We don't want your money. And then in the next scene, he's like at the liquor store or something. Was like, these are one of our churches. And it's a liquor store in Hollywood, on Hollywood Boulevard. And he's like, yeah, we don't want your money. We just want your liver. And anyway, it's really funny. But the name of it was Lushatology. And I was a Lushatologist for a very short period of time. I was a card-carrying member.
Aren't we all? Weren't we all?
Joni Cummings says, question, can either of you get your hands on any of the scripts?
Sadly, no. I had a binder, like my own personal binder with my name on it, that had all of the scripts in it. And
Did you also have the binder of all of the things that you and
Didn't
you have a binder? No. Didn't you have a binder of all of the correspondence between you and David Miscavige at the base?
No, because that would have filled my entire office. No, I'm serious. He told me one day that he was probably bullshitting because he's a consummate liar, and he likes to say things to make people feel good.
Yeah.
And I was walking through his office, and I never went there before the big $50 million
Yeah.
building. And I went up with him to his office to have some kind of meeting, which is maybe the only time I never needed to go up there.
Yeah.
I mean, Claire can tell you she never saw me in that building. Ever.
No, yeah.
There's no reason to go.
Well, I mean, I was there for 15 years. I may have been in that building maybe 50 times.
Yeah, I was there once, and all the time that you were there.
Well,
so
he didn't like people coming to see him.
No, he took me up there. We were going to talk about something, and
Yeah.
and so we were walking by. Remember the filing cabinets with the cranks on them? They moved.
Yes.
They had a massive
high density shelving.
Yeah, and we walked by there, and he kind of said, there's more correspondence between you and me than there is between him and anybody else in the world. And
Wow. Well, I believe it. I actually believe that. Whether it's a lie or not, I do believe it, because you and him were writing to each other for many, many years,
multiple
every
times
single
a day.
day.
Multiple times.
But every day.
Yeah, hold on 1 second.
It's okay. I'm going to put this up. It says, Not a Sheeple says, so how come if Claire is a lush, there's pics of you passed out on a sidewalk? This is a good point. I think more people that hang out with Claire should take pictures of her.
Now, I'm not going to read this today, but this is the last letter I got from him in 2018. Okay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah. So that's another thing. Mitch does have, I mean, I do this thing with the spy.
I don't have a lot.
I know, but I do this thing with the spy files. I've got about 30 files that talk about me, and I just read them. Maybe.
Yeah,
maybe
this one's kind of this letter. This is the reason why they can't do a hate site about me and say, he was a nobody. He really didn't do any of these things.
This thing we just showed is a good one for me. They said I was trying to drown people when I was 6, yet I was I was commended here in 1994.
But
I was a good guy.
In this letter, he refers to me as a good friend, and he refers to our working relationship.
Wow. That's hard. That's a hard one.
You can't say this guy is nobody, because I could just hold that letter up, and it's from 2018. It's like pretty recent. So anyway.
This is a great one. I'm going to show this. It says Mila Kunis, a.k.a. C.O. Bilf. Question, have either of you seen/heard any deets about the script LRH allegedly
just
wrote
hold on 1 second?
with Lenny Riefenstahl? He's going to get the thing. He didn't. I'm going to say this while Mitch is gone. Mitch has something. He has all of the things that would have anything to do with this. He has all of it. And I want to say that David Miscavige gave it to him. But LRH was writing a script about Africa. and he heard that Lenny had been to Africa, and I think he wrote to her. Now Mitch can take over now that he's
Okay,
back.
so here's a note from Dave, handwritten. Dave, you recognize that handwriting, right, Mark?
Yep, and I recognize his little
RTC.
embossed little
This is the desk.
RTC.
This is his desk notes. If you want to send you a desk note, and this says, "Dear Mitch," this is from in 1995. "Dear Mitch, here's the data on Lenny Riefenstahl. Love, Dave."
Now
So
set up
because
why he sent that to you.
okay, here's why he sent it to me. 1 second.
Mitch. I'm not sure.
I'm gonna do a whole video on this, so I don't
Yeah, I
want
was
to get
just
into.
gonna. Well, that's what I was gonna say.
But this is just a teaser for the video.
Perfect.
This is Lenny Riefenstahl's biography. It's not a small book, but I've been fascinated by her since I was in film school in the 70s for a couple of reasons. And then, of course, I ended up being the Lenny Riefenstahl of Scientology. There's a passage. So I'm sitting in my office at Gold. I'm reading this book. She starts talking about L. Ron Hubbard in this book. I'm like, holy moly. And she's talking about she's looking for somebody to help her rewrite an English version of her most famous film, The Blue Light, which is a beautiful film, a silent film. You can see it on YouTube. The Blue Light, Das Blue Licht, or whatever, however you say that in German. And she had an assistant who was a film editor who was studying at St. Hill. That's how the connection was made. They contacted Hubbard about writing it. And this is the script. Okay. It's called The Blue Light. This is the English version. Well, I'll read this to you. It says, original story by Lenny Riefenstahl, early screen version by Bella Bellis, modern version by L. Ron Hubbard. And so he sent me back the script and all of the correspondence and a lot of handwritten notes on how you on plot development and character development. And it's maybe the only stuff he ever wrote about writing, because he wrote about everything: how to clean your car, how to go clear, how to polish your cat, whatever it is, whatever it is, he just wrote about everything. So yeah, the answer to the question is, yeah, I know a little about that, but I'm gonna do a whole video on it.
Nice. There you go. There's the answer. That's a good answer. I mean, for $5, this guy put.
Oh yeah, he got $1 million answer for
he got $1 million
$5. It's a discount day at the Mark and Mitch Make a Scientology film. We're having a bake sale here.
Yeah, we're gonna end off on this. Okay. This is the last of the questions.
Yeah, because I think I hear the lawyers about to pull up.
It says Xenu Cocktail Pan Galactic Gargle Blaster.
I like the name. I
do like it. That could be the name of the other one.
Yeah.
And then we'd have the ingredients, the Pan Galactic. But also I don't know, we're throwing away the Xenu, and Xenu's kind of like the lead. It has to have, so it could be the Xenu Pan Galactic Gargle Blaster.
It's too long.
We got to work on that one.
A good name for a drink can't be more than 3 words. Sex on the beach. That's about as about as big. Sex on the, yeah, okay, you're right. Let me count the syllables.
Hide current comment. There we go. Let me just before let's do some housekeeping before.
Okay.
So we got to check out Mitch's channel at Scientology: The Big Lie. If you haven't subscribed, please do that. And
yeah, because I'm going to be doing an extensive video on this. I was going to cut a documentary about it, but I'm
still do that too.
Yeah, I could, but I'm going to do like a live stream about the Lenny Riefenstahl thing. I also dedicate. There's an entire chapter of my book about this and about Hubbard's claims of having had a filmmaking career in Hollywood and all that. It's all kind of mixed together.
Perfect.
So you want
to and all that nonsense.
Yeah, you want to go to my channel and you want to hit that notification bell because you'll get notified about when the book's released. Nice. And you could read all about it.
Okay, good. And then I'm just putting up his Indiegogo. This will all be in the description, but I'm putting it up there. Indiegogo, just search Mitch Brisker, Scientology, The Big Lie. We've got Xenu is my homeboy, and other tons of BFG merch can be gotten from the Blown for Good store. The link is in the description. And then if anybody, we talk about all this stuff. We're talking about these individual films. The whole 15 years that I was there, I pretty much tell that story in my book, Blown for Good, Behind the Iron Curtain of Scientology.
Yeah, but you got the Great Escape story.
I just
la-di-da drove off and decided not to come back.
I do think that Valerie Haney escaping in the back of a car.
Okay.
That's like that's some other. That's
like She raised the bar.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you for joining us today, guys. Thank you for sticking with us. Thank you for all the
Yeah.
guys that watched till the very end. And if do we forget anything else? I think we'll
No,
do.
yeah, we're good. No, we're
Which
good.
film do we want to do next? Do we want to do?
I think we should do Tier 14. I
Okay,
think
TR
we
14.
teased it a
That
little
is the
bit.
angel and the devil film in
Yeah, this is
Scientology.
the one that Hubbard. This is like he hated Catholics. Okay, this is
He
like,
really takes
you're gonna learn
it
all
all out.
about it. Yeah,
And that one does have an all-star studded cast as well. So,
yeah, and a lot of visual support. We both managed to pull together some good visual support for that.
yes. Oh, yes. It's going to be so good.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks a lot, guys.
And one more thing, just to
Yeah.
tease it, it's going to blow your mind. If you watch that one till the end, we will reveal another document.
Oh, yeah. We're going to keep these documents coming.
I have another note from David Miscavige to me about that film.
Yes,
So,
and we are also working on it. If you are out there in the world of Scientology films and you have photos or videos or a document or a script, or you were an actor and you read sides and you had to get, send us your stuff. We have already gotten a lot of amazing photos and stuff like that we've been sent, and you will be seeing those throughout these films, and these are some super behind the scenes
yeah, and it'll
stuff.
really help us to tell the stories, because
It really will.
we see these things and then all of a sudden we get it triggers the memories, and it's just
Totally
crazy.
Okay, guys, thanks a lot, Mitch. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you,
We'll
Mark.
see you next time.
Take care.